Have you ever waved someone goodbye and later found out they were walking straight into another life? That was my dad. He left for work every morning at 7:45 a.m. Same jacket, same smile, same worn-out briefcase. We thought we knew everything about him, but it turns out we were his second family. If you think this is wild already, just wait, because what I'm about to tell you isn't just betrayal. It's a carefully built lie, wrapped in I love yous and bedtime kisses. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more stories that shake you to the core. My name is Mia. Growing up, my dad was my hero. He taught me how to ride a bike. He packed my school lunches with cute little notes. He never missed a dance recital. He kissed my forehead every night and said the same thing. No matter what, I'm always here. That was his promise. But promises, I've learned, are easy to make when you're living two lives. We were a quiet, ordinary family. My mom worked part-time at a bookstore. My dad was a civil engineer, or so he said. I never really understood what he did, just that it involved blueprints and buildings and long commutes. Every morning he'd leave the house right on time. Every evening he'd come home just before dinner. Routine, predictable, safe. At least, it looked that way. There were signs, little things, a receipt in his jacket pocket from a cafe in a town he never mentioned, a second phone charger in his glove compartment, him missing my school play because of a site inspection. Mom always brushed it off. He works hard, honey. He's probably just tired. So I stopped asking questions. Until one Sunday afternoon, everything cracked open. We were cleaning out the garage. Dad had promised to take me to the movies afterward. He was digging through an old box labeled office stuff when I saw it. A folder. Navy blue. Unlabeled. He dropped it when he reached for something else, and papers scattered across the concrete floor. Among them, a photo. A family photo. But not our family. There was Dad, standing with another woman, his arm around her shoulders, 2 kids, both younger than me, smiling, in front of a house I'd never seen before. I picked it up, confused. Who are they? Dad froze, absolutely froze. He didn't even try to lie at first. He just stared at the photo in my hand like it had crawled up from a nightmare. Mom walked in just then. She saw the photo, and her face turned to stone. Not surprise, not confusion, just stone. That was when I realized she already knew. As if we were ever truly an option. When did you find out? I asked. She sat down slowly, like her body couldn't hold the weight of the truth anymore. Before we got married, I found emails. He swore it was over. He begged me not to leave. I was pregnant with you. I stayed. I wanted to scream, but all that came out was silence. My dad walked in 10 minutes later. Carrying a grocery bag like this was just another Sunday. He saw the photo on the table, and he knew. He just knew. The look on his face? It wasn't fear. It wasn't guilt. It was exhaustion, like he was tired of running. "Let's sit," he said, like he was about to explain how he accidentally double-booked a family. We sat, him on one side, me and Mom on the other, like 2 armies facing off, with a battlefield of lies between us. He started slow. That's how people confess. Soft, careful, hoping you'll interrupt and say it's okay. "It started in college," he said. "Melissa and I were on and off. She got pregnant. I panicked." He looked at Mom. "Then I met your mother. She was everything I didn't know I needed." Mom flinched. "You both deserved more," he said, "but I couldn't walk away from either of you." "So you stayed with both?" I snapped. "You built 2 entire lives and pretended it was normal?" He nodded, as if this was logical, as if this was reasonable. "I gave you everything," he said, voice cracking. "No," I said. "You gave us half. Half of your time, half of your truth, half of a father? I walked out. Again. Same as the garage. Only this time there was no park to run to, no swing set to escape on, just cold air. And a father-shaped void I didn't know how to fill. After that day, my dad moved into the guest room. No one talked much. He still left for work at 7:45 a.m., like clockwork, but he came back looking older every night, smaller somehow. I stopped asking where he was going. I already knew. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't think. I needed to see them. The other family. The woman who had my father's heart. The kids who shared his blood. So I did what any half-shattered, half-obsessed 17-year-old would do. I stalked him. Not in a scary way. In a daughter who has nothing left to lose kind of way. I followed his car after he left for work. And sure enough, he drove 42 minutes out of town to a quiet neighborhood full of white fences and trimmed lawns. He pulled into a driveway, got out, smiled, and walked inside. He didn't knock, because it was his home. I sat there in my car for maybe an hour, frozen. My hands were shaking on the steering wheel, because I knew what this meant. This wasn't some fling, some mistake. This was a life, one I wasn't part of. The next day, I made a decision. I came back, parked down the street, waited for them to leave. And when they were gone, I walked up to the door and rang the bell. Nothing happened. I waited. Then, just as I was about to turn away, the door opened. A girl, maybe 13, freckles, ponytail, big blue eyes, my eyes. She blinked at me. "Hi, can I help you?" I froze. I hadn't planned this far ahead. Sorry, I thought this was someone else's house. My bad. I turned to leave, but then I heard it. A voice behind her. "Tyler, who's at the door?" Tyler, my brother? I left. Fast. I didn't go back for days, but I couldn't stop thinking about them. The other daughter, the other son, the mom. Melissa. What did she know? Did she know about me? About us? One night I asked Mom. Did she know? She shook her head. No, he said she didn't. That he kept it all separate. Said he was careful. But you knew. All this time, you knew. She swallowed hard. I knew enough. But not everything. I swear. But something about the way she said it. Something in the way her eyes dropped to the floor. I didn't believe her. Not anymore. It took me 3 weeks to gather the courage. I didn't want to show up unannounced again. I didn't want to ring the doorbell and see that little girl look up at me like I was a stranger, which, of course, I was. So I waited for my dad to go out again, and this time, I followed her. Melissa. She drove to a coffee shop across town. I watched her order an iced latte, sit by the window, and scroll through her phone like her life was perfectly normal, like she wasn't the other woman. Or maybe we were. After half an hour of debating with myself, I walked in. I sat down across from her. She looked up, startled, confused, then polite. "Hi, do I know you?" I took a deep breath. "I think you should." She studied me, and slowly, so slowly, her face changed. Recognition, then shock, then something else. Pain. "You're Mia," she said. I nodded. She looked down at her drink. Her hands were trembling. "He said you'd never come." I didn't know what to say. I thought I'd be angry, explosive, screaming in the middle of a Starbucks like some girl in a drama series. But I wasn't. I was tired. "Did you know about me?" I asked quietly. She paused. Then she nodded. "Not at first. He told me later. Said it was complicated. That he still loved your mother. That he couldn't leave either of you." I felt sick. "So you let it happen?" She looked at me sharply. "I didn't let anything happen. I believed him. I trusted him. Just like your mom did. Just like you did. Fair. painful, but fair. "I thought I was the real wife," she said, voice low. "Turns out neither of us were." She looked at me again, and something shifted between us. Not forgiveness, not understanding, just clarity. We were both lied to, both built lives around a man who was building walls between us. "I'm sorry," she said, and this time, I believed her. After my conversation with Melissa, I thought I'd feel lighter, like something had been released, but the truth doesn't set you free. It just clears the fog. So you can finally see the wreckage. Home didn't feel like home anymore. It felt like a house where the walls knew more than I did. My dad and I barely spoke. My mom was quieter than usual, like she was saving her voice for a battle that never came. So I left, just for a few days, stayed at my friend Ava's place. No questions asked. While I was gone, my dad made a decision I never saw coming. He brought them to our house. Melissa, Tyler, Grace. I didn't see it happen. But later, my mom told me everything. She said they stood in the living room like strangers at a wake. No one spoke for a long time. Then Melissa, of all people, broke the silence. "We're here because we didn't know how else to move forward." My mom didn't yell, didn't cry. She just looked at my dad, arms crossed, eyes unreadable, and said, "You thought this was a good idea?" He didn't answer, because there was nothing left to say that could fix what he'd broken. Later that night, Mom called me. She wasn't angry. Her voice just sounded defeated. She told me Grace had asked about the baby photo on the wall, the one of me in my dad's arms. "That's Mia?" she'd asked, smiling, and for some reason, that hit me the hardest. I came home the next day. Everyone was gone. The house felt heavy. Still, like it was holding its breath, waiting for someone to apologize. I sat on my bed, staring at the old swing set through my window. My dad built it when I was 6. I used to think it made us special, that it meant something. Now it just looked like a prop in a story that wasn't mine anymore. It took me months to find my voice again, to walk into the kitchen and not feel like a stranger, to hear my father's footsteps and not want to scream, to stop wondering if every smile was a lie. We didn't go back to normal. We never would. Some stories don't have clean endings. They just stop. My mom didn't divorce him, not right away at least. They started sleeping in separate rooms. They said they'd figure things out. But I knew. We all did. Some fractures are too deep to mend. I kept going to school, kept pretending I was fine, but the truth followed me everywhere. People talk, even when you beg them not to. I became the girl whose dad had 2 families, whispers in hallways, side glances in classrooms. But the worst part was, they weren't wrong. One afternoon I saw Tyler at the grocery store. He was with Melissa. He waved. I waved back, and that tiny, awkward moment, it meant something. Not forgiveness, not connection. Just a kind of peace, like, yeah, this happened. We didn't choose it. But here we are. Weeks passed. Then months. One evening I found Dad in the backyard, alone, sitting on the swing set he built when I was 6. He looked up. "Do you hate me?" he asked. I sat down next to him. "I don't know." Silence. Then he said something I'll never forget. "You didn't deserve any of this, but you still showed more strength than I ever did." I didn't respond. Just let the wind carry his words into the fading light. Eventually, he moved out. Not to Melissa's, just out. Somewhere new. Alone. I think he finally understood that having everything meant losing it all. The house was quieter after that. Not sad. Just honest. And for the first time in a long time, I could breathe. If you made it this far, thank you for listening. Some stories aren't easy to tell, and even harder to live through. If this one moved you, please like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe. More stories are coming, and trust me, some truths are darker than fiction.